This NFL DFS Picks Week 6 edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is presented by WinBet. Bet $100 at WinBet and get a $100 free bet. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/winbet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today.
This is Brian Bosworth, aka The Boz, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, brother. Peace out. Boz out.
Cox. He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking that money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
I had to bring it back. Fuck Darrow.
Yes.
But maybe Darrow did me a favor.
Really?
Preventing me from taking a crappy Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Thank you, Darrow. I need new t-shirts made immediately. Thank you, Darrow.
In Darrow we trust, Ryan. He got you on the right side of the action.
I knew there was a reason. There was no point in just in stacking that bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, Bengals have gotten off to a super. I heard this as a question, Ryan, and this applies to fantasy and regular NFL action. Bengals, Rams.
Oh.
Which Super Bowl team are you more worried about? If you were a supporter of those teams.
By a mile, the Rams.
Yeah.
It's not even close. I hate to have a horrible answer to a good question, but it's not even close. I mean, at least like, okay, the offensive line, like we still have weapons. We still have stuff going on. And we're a Cooper Kupp injury away from this team talking about first pick in the draft.
I know it is hilarious because they were clearly, and as far as the preseason takes, certainly right about stuff, wrong about stuff, but my action movie line about how they went all in for one last job last year, and it's completely collapsing this year. It's my action movie.
Oh, I'm sorry, that was my bad. It turned out to be true.
Thank you.
Turns out to be true that when you, I don't know, just think of anything in life, right? When you save up for one last push.
Yeah, they just completely lost the eye of their tiger.
There's a Super Bowl hangover for a reason, Sean. And I know you're not going to bring this up because you spell team with two eyes, but one of us won the big boy two straight weeks now. So apologies to the listeners for taking all their money. You cashed last week, right?
Or was that 2 weeks ago?
No, that was last week.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was last week.
I thought it was maybe. I thought it was 2 weeks, but it could be wrong. All the weeks blend together.
Last week there were only 10 people I had to 9 others I had to slay. I beat you by I think over 100 points.
Not my best line. But I mean, if you're putting up 200 in the big boy, you're taking that.
Rolled out a true cash lineup this week, Sean.
I like
dominated the field.
We got a GPP lineup coming up, but before we get to that, WinBet, baby. Oh man. Fortunately, I'm in this shitty state of California, which I was back in beautiful Arizona. Arizona is a WinBet state. If you're in a WinBet casino state, even better. The casino open 24 hours a day, 100% deposit bonus up to $1,000. And of course, their biggest winners club. That's right. Whoever hits the longest parlay, you get $1,000 free bet. And then obviously you're also hit your parlay, which is pretty awesome. Let's go. So much to choose from. All you have to do is head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/winbet, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. So they know we sent you to claim your free bet. That's right. Bet $100, get $100 free bet. Maybe you're going to use that on a build your own bet. Oh man, Ryan, I was so close. We hit the over field goals, under Raiders touchdown. Just that bastard Travis Kelce.
Sean,
the over.
Sean, I'm sorry, I'm going wide. I would never take credit for a woulda, coulda, shoulda bet.
Yeah,
but I almost came with a multi-touchdown Devontae Adams, multi-touchdown Travis Kelce. I'm such a pussy. I'm sorry. I'm such a pussy. I thought it was stupid. This is a confidence game, right? And I was feeling down. I hadn't hit in a while.
Scared, right?
I'm
Can't
sorry.
bet
Scared money don't make money.
Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions at winbet.com. Must be 21 or older and present in the state where playthrough WinBet is available. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. I was actually testing myself, Ryan, to see if I had the number memorized. I do. Joining us on the line to talk NFL Week 6 DFS and all things National Football League. He is the one of our NFL betting editors over at sportsgamblingpodcast.com. You know him from the SGPN Fantasy Football podcast as well. Justin Bruni. What's up, Bruni?
Doing good. Doing good. How we doing, boys? Feeling good. Feeling great. We got a couple more days till football again.
And he's probably also excited because fantasy hockey's back. If you're into that, yes, we have a fantasy hockey show.
Let it slide.
Justin slowly creep. Yeah, please make sure you work that.
I love
in.
that thing. That is my. I mean, the hockey guys are great, and again, awesome reason to join the Discord. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/discord. The hockey guys in particular, I would say, highest ranking channel Discord group. The Discord's great, but again, the catchphrase "Let it slide," I love it
for multiple reasons.
We're gonna work that in. We're gonna
also
sure.
Shout out to Ryan Gilbert. He does routinely call me the king when it comes to first touchdowns on social media. So
King Kramer,
another reason we love the hockey gambling
Ryan
podcast.
Hit
Guys,
the Devontae Adams.
Who, by the way, I would say if you're gonna earmark a show on SGPN, that's like I'm excited for season 2. Shout out to the Days of Our League. It's the hockey game. I love it. They put out a season 2 promo. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
these guys are on. They understand. They understand it. Anyway, football's bigger.
So Bernie, we're gonna get to our we're gonna get to our DFS lineup. Before we get to that, we're 5 weeks in. I like checking the pulse. Anything that you're like so right on, so wrong on? What are your big surprises so far this season?
So far, very correct on Russell Wilson. I had him around quarterback 15. I think coming into this last week, he was quarterback 14. So, you know, as a football fan, I really don't like to see the product on the field from what we've seen from Denver so far. I'd like them to improve.
Yeah.
You know, obviously we lost Javonte. You know, you'd like to see maybe a little bit more out of Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy, I guess I would say, you know, it would be one of my misses. You know, I had him as a keeper in like the 11th round of a keeper league, and you know, feeling pretty sour about it. Been trying to get a lot of trades off the ground these past couple of weeks. No luck. No one's interested.
No one's calling for Jerry Jeudy. Yeah, I mean, I think exactly. I didn't think they would be gangbusters, but I thought they would certainly be better than this that we've seen out of the Broncos offense. I mean, what are you blaming it on? I know Russ is crying partially toward labrum right now, but a labrum doesn't cause you to completely misread defenses. Right. It does seem like, you know, maybe he was just playing. Maybe he was just like a more stable version of Kyler Murray, and that you know the stuff that was working for him was like playground type stuff. And now when he has to actually be in an offense, he can't pull it off. I mean, what's your take on Danger Russ?
When my kids were younger, I used to instruct them the fire is hot, but if they played around the fire, like eventually they would learn that the fire is hot. That's the hottest take I've ever heard. You just compared Russ to here's what I will note about Russ. He's
a successful Kyler Murray.
He's still hurt, so we can still slap that injury label on. Look, I did see that their strength of schedule when it comes to like for fantasy purposes, like quarterback points allowed, wide receiver. It does get easier, but here's the secondary piece. Pete Carroll, good football coach. Hackett, horrible football coach.
Yeah,
and again. At what point is it not a hot take that Russ was part of the problem in Seattle with the way the offense looked? Maybe they had to scheme around Russell's limitations, and Geno's just unlocked.
Geno Smith, you drop him in, and he seems to be balling out. I was slightly higher than most on the Seahawks coming into the season. I had him 7-10. I thought there was some talent on the team, but the way I thought they would win is by playing a little bit of defense, running the ball, easy, conservative. You know, not turning it over, putting Geno Smith in a place to succeed. Not Geno Smith just balling out of his mind. And they are 2-3, so who knows? They still could end up with a pretty crappy record.
It's early enough for everyone's like the parity and the fact that no one's winless. Like everyone is so close where it's you do get to have those like yeah, but they are only a couple games. This Seattle team in 5 weeks could be 2-8. And then it's a different story.
Yeah, I mean they're the whole thing. I can't make sense of Seattle.
I feel like they're the O'Doyles driving down the street, and like they're totally fine, and then one day they hit the banana and they drop off the cliff,
completely fly off the cliff. Bruni, before we get to the lineup, is there anyone? I know we're always talking waiver wire stuff like that, but any long-term like trade values, like someone you would recommend? I guess we'd call him like a buy low right now, or just like, hey, whatever you got to do to get this guy on your roster. Who would jump out as far as that list?
Besides the obvious Darius Slayton, we could
the obvious Darius Slayton.
Top of mind, I know is Darius Slayton, but other than him,
off the couch, 6 catches, get him on your roster. I absolutely love it. I do have kind of a similar pick to Darius Slayton though, and I don't know if you can necessarily buy low on him. I think you can buy low on him based on his lack of brand name, and that's Josh Reynolds. He's a drum that I've been beating now since week 2. He is the second best pass catcher for the Detroit Lions right now, like ahead of TJ Hawkinson. They have the same amount of targets. Reynolds has a handful more of catches, and his A.DOT is about 5 to 6 yards higher. He's being used as a deep field threat in that offense. And I got a little bit of pushback by this, on our shows, on people on Reddit, the beast that is Reddit, right? Oh, what about Amon-Ra? What about TJ? Swift is going to come back, Shark, all, etc. I've seen Reynolds on the field with all of these guys at the same time, and he's still out producing them. And he's carving out a nice little piece in that offense where the defense on that team is just going to be terrible. They're not getting any better than they are. Worst secondary in the league, allowing the second most fantasy points to the running back position. Might be number 1 after this week up against the Patriots, right? Stevenson running all over them. So I love Josh Reynolds and that type of offense where they're going to be playing from behind a lot of positive game flow. And again, rip the name off the back of the jersey, just look at the numbers. This is viable production. This is someone that you want to get. And because he lacks that name brand, I don't think it's going to cost much to get him. And he's on a bye week.
Yeah, perfect time to trade for him. I love this.
And it's the classic. I mean, Sean and I run into this every year, right? You can't be too far off the market in fantasy, or people think you're not taking it seriously.
Your ratings are a joke. I think Zeke sucks.
I would go a step further. Josh Reynolds played with Jared Goff in LA. Like that's the other tier of this. And I think, it's certainly the injuries have helped, but he's like, what do they always say about Deontay Johnson? Like, you say what you will about him, but he gets open. Yeah. And Josh Reynolds, every single game he's been given opportunities. I mean, what did he put up last week in a week where Amon-Ra was back? Even though he was limited, what did he put up? Another 15 points. Oh,
and a tutty, yeah.
So it's like, I'm that offense is just going to produce points, and it's going to be annoying. But they're unfortunately
they're coming off a game where they got shut out, so they're due. And to the point that you're going into a bye. So trade for a guy on bye. I mean, who is going to want to sit with Josh Reynolds on their bench in a bye? You have to be a very patient fantasy manager.
We probably need someone like that on our dynasty team. Sean.
Yes, we could pick up Josh Reynolds. We need a lot of help in our dynasty team. All right, let's get to it. Let's talk week 6 DFS GPP lineups. We're trying to win $1 million here, Ryan. Who is your quarterback?
All right, so I figured, since I'm an absolute sharp when it comes to DFS lately, again, I made money on a showdown lineup. It's out of control, Sean. I have multiple lineups, and I thought I didn't want to step on anyone. What should I go off the? Should I just go full off the board here? Yeah, let's go fucking off the board.
Yeah,
let's go off the board.
This is a good time to give out.
This is how you win $1 million.
Ones.
Ready?
Yeah.
Well, he went overseas. And he's now international man of mystery, Dan Jones.
Oh my God.
He's being absolutely.
I was about to say it before you could even get the pick out.
Disrespectful. I'm ashamed of myself. Disrespectful in the pricing at 5,200. The quarterbacks he's beneath. Let me just read a couple of them, Sean. He's the same price as Kenny Pickett and Andy Dalton and Mac Jones. He's less money than Matt Ryan and Zach Wilson and Marcus Mariota. Jameis, Jacoby Brissett, Teddy Bridgewater.
He is more expensive than Taysom Hill. Who will have more passing touchdowns this week?
Shame.
Daniel Jones or Taysom Hill?
So here's the case. This is a sneaky, high-scoring game. The Giants just put up a decent amount of. I mean, I know everyone's pivoted their take on the Packers defense to like they're not a good defense now, but we were talking about this team as a team loaded up with talent. They have a pass rush. They can do some things on defense. So for the Giants to go over there, and it wasn't just Barkley. Dan Jones had a couple long fucking drives where he was completing as one of these Giants YouTubers kept screaming. Marcus Johnson was working for Amazon last week.
Was he really?
I cannot confirm nor deny he was on the practice squad. So the point was these guys were quote unquote doing the Kurt Warner and bagging groceries. Now you go against a team that's beatable over the top. That's beatable period, has given up points to just about everyone. And oh, by the way, it's a Wink Martindale revenge spot, Sean. That makes you even nervous. 5,200. Let's roll out a Dan Jones lineup and win him $1 million.
I did find a Marcus Johnson on LinkedIn who's working for Amazon, but this is not the same Marcus Johnson. To your point, this is also as unfortunate as it is. This is a massive letdown spot for the Ravens. You just got the monkey off your back of these home losses, and you just beat your biggest rival, the Bengals, who owned you. You didn't cover the spread, which was sweet for Bengals backers, but yeah, this could be a huge letdown spot for the Ravens in general and for the Ravens defense.
It's a sandwich spot too. They have Cleveland next week. Now I know it's not a huge game, but it's still a divisional spot. But all of that being said, the last point on Dan Jones, I understand he's also coming off a week where he played really well, only 12 points, didn't have the rushing work we've seen. He's a little banged up, still had 10 carries. Again, rushing floor will be there. He's going to throw for a couple touchdowns. The top of the Baltimore defense is, how do you say this? Take offable. You can take the top off the
top off of it.
That's enough talking about this game. Dan Jones, 5,200. Let's fucking go.
What about you, Bruni? Who do you got? Who's your quarterback?
It's a perfect segue. I'm going Lamar. Lamar Jackson versus the Giants. Absolutely love the matchup. I do like it because I agree with Kramer. I think it can be a sneaky high scoring game. Lamar's coming off what I would call a couple of lull games. You know, we saw him with some big booming production in the first couple of weeks. He's kind of taken a little bit of a dip, and I do still think that the Giants are a bit of a friendlier matchup. Obviously he's got everything to do with his legs. He's the leading rusher on the Ravens, and I also have him stacked with Devin Duvernay, kind of peeping the wide receiver position a little bit here because I really like what that combination's been doing. We've also seen some big weeks out of Mark Andrews. So this is just a game where I really love the game flow. Lamar is just kind of giving us that high end trust, rest easy at night, whether the production's there or not. If he misses one for you, you're not losing sleep over it. So I love Lamar in this matchup up against the Giants. Would love Dan Jones to bring home that booming production. More opportunity for Jackson alike. So I love it.
And I guess like some of I don't want to bury what you're about to talk about, Sean, but I do think like just from game theory, so many people are going to be playing Allen and Mahomes, and even like the Seattle Arizona game, which is the second biggest total. That Lamar might actually be kind of a strangely contrarian play this week.
Yeah,
I think number 2 on the board as far as cost, right behind Josh Allen. So he's sandwiched between Mahomes and Allen. And yeah, I like that value because I think that in that Buffalo Kansas City game, it's going to be one of those, more defensive games than people are thinking, I can't remember what the matchup was. I think it was the Dolphins and the Bills. I took the under on. It felt a lot easier than it was supposed to be, midway through that game. But I feel like that's going to be one of those higher scoring games where I'm going to be smashing the under, and we might be a little bit disappointed in the totals.
You're not winning. I'll say that you're not winning the million playing one of those quarterbacks this week.
Yeah.
It's going to be near impossible, right?
I mean, it really. I see your point that you're loading. You're too big on quarterback.
You won't have enough money to spend elsewhere to be different enough with a high enough floor, like with enough ceiling.
You would have to get the complete nuts, and maybe that is in the Buffalo Kansas City game. I'm with you though.
There's so much upside in this game, Sean. It's like they built a house without a roof.
I think.
Stop.
Ryan, you mentioned the Seattle Arizona game, and I'm going Geno Smith. I'm taking the cheese. Give me Geno Smith at home, $5,700. This game has shootout written all over it. 51 is the total. Arizona shows up on the road. I think they're going to be able to put up a ton of points on Seattle. And I think Seattle's going to be able to put up a ton of points. And with Rashad Penny out, it makes it a little bit easier to kind of figure out who they're going to use in the passing game. And, you know, I'm sure Ken Walker is going to get his. He's an interesting play.
I actually think he's going to be very owned this week. So. Yeah. I think you're going to see this.
And Pete Carroll likes passing the ball. I think that's the biggest thing I've learned in this NFL season. Pete Carroll does not hate passing the ball.
It's like he went to a seminar and was like, "Whoa, is this what football looks like in 2022?"
I can get dangerous. I can get dangerous. I can do this.
I like cooking. I like cook all the time.
This is what happened. He's like, that fucking Russ. What is the one thing that he loved the most? And his Pete Carroll's assistant's like, unlimited. He's like, fuck. How are we gonna? What are we gonna do to be unlimited this year? Pass.
Geno Smith is also just really fun to watch. Like the dude, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Nick Foles' run there with to some degree, where he's throwing it up there and doesn't really care where it goes, but it's working. You know what I mean? Like
it's what I wish Mariota would play like.
Yeah, like he's playing like a guy who has his second chance and isn't gonna hold back. And from a DFS, from a fantasy point of view, like that's what I want. And he's even sprinkling in the running. He didn't do it a ton last game, but against Detroit, he was 7 for 49, had a touchdown, 3 for 13 last week.
Literally playing for his professional life.
No, it backs against the wall. I like it. And he seems to have a good connection with Lockett and Metcalf.
Well, he. It's funny. We always used to say, "Wow, Russ throws that like deep ball. It just drops into Lockett's hand." Turns out Geno can do the same exact thing. Maybe Lockett's just really good.
Ryan, Research Flat Earth want to know, how is no one playing a Brady lineup? As you've informed me, you also have a Brady lineup cooking.
All right. So if you must know,
and maybe we give that out on Sunday morning as well.
Yeah, I think
pregame show.
I think. Well, I played a Brady lineup last week too, so I wanted to get different a little bit. But the Steelers, I would say the Ravens, Giants, and the Steelers Bucks game are two games that I think, you know, in a slate where I think a lot of the general folks are going to be looking at a couple games that are both late, by the way. I do think that there's some opportunity there for Brady as well. I've got Brady coming off like a weirdly inefficient game. Evans got the TD not overturned or whatever. So that's always fun.
What do you got for running back?
All right. And yeah, so for those wondering, Tom Brady is in the group of course. The lineups I've made so far: Dan Jones, Tom Brady, Kyler Murray, and Zach Wilson. Come at me.
Imagine those guys hanging out together.
I was having a fun moment trying to figure out what the joke is, but Kirk Cousins, Dan Jones, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Jalen Hurts walk into a bar. What do they talk about? How big Jalen Hurts' dick is.
Let's go.
All right, running back one. It's the obvious stack, or maybe it's not the obvious stack. But if I'm playing a Giants are going to have a game, I'm going to stack him with Saquon. His price is still wrong at 7,700. They've just it seems they've been hesitant across all the running backs to really juice any of them up too high. So I don't know. I guess it'll still probably be fairly popular here, but this Ravens defense has not exactly done well against the running backs. And so Saquon coming off a game where he still put up 19 points, Sean, guess how many touches he had? Only 16. So it's like, he didn't really even have a crazy workload game like the game before where he had 33 touches. And, you know, he's still got in the end zone. He's still getting the targets. He's going to have catches every game. He's going to be lining up in the fucking Wildcat. Like, who knows? He might throw a pass. He's just locked in this year. And even Sean can't throw shade his way because that cut in the Packers game, I was in the studio all by myself. I had F1 I was watching the replay of the race and I had the Giants game on, and I if you're in the car with your kids, just turn it down for a second. I ejaculated immediately when that happened. I've watched that replay multiple times. Oh he's back. He's fuck. It was Gus. Do we have Gus on the board still?
No, sorry, Ryan.
Oh my God.
I'll bring him back. Just
do we have the oh my God kid?
Yeah, of course.
That happened in my pants when Saquon made that. Because 7,700. Let's fucking go.
Bruni, who do you got for your running back?
My running back one is Jeff Wilson Jr. at 6,200. Not sure there's a safer floor for the value. The guy's rushed for over 70 plus yards in 4 straight weeks. He's got back-to-back games with rushing touchdowns. I'm not concerned at all about Tevin Coleman. I like Tevin Coleman as a nice little buy candidate if you're super desperate on a bye week or injury, but I still feel like this is the Jeff Wilson show, at least on the ground for the 49ers. Love the matchup up against Atlanta. think it could be another very big week for him. I like him to go over the 100-yard threshold and find pay dirt.
Yeah. Yeah. Hard to go against that. And if you like that running back 49ers or like go running back defense, obviously can't go wrong.
I mean, Jeff Wilson,
defense.
the floor is so high, so high.
All right. I'm going with Christian McCaffrey, $8,300 against the Rams. He really, if you read the comments before even Matt Rule got fired, he seems to have a chip on his shoulder. They literally have no one else. It reminds me of, I mean, now that you're going to have.
Are you a DJ Moore truther over there?
Yes,
Justin?
I am, sir.
Well, and maybe DJ Moore and PJ Walker get it going. I like DJ Moore as a talent, but I think
DJ, come on, guys.
Exactly.
Like, correlation.
PJ to DJ. I just think he's going to be heavily involved. And if they are thinking of trading him, maybe this is a showcase game. I don't know. I mean, he's coming off a 12 target game, and I think this Rams defense is just not that good. I think he's going to get an insane amount of volume. So Christian McCaffrey, 8,300. I don't know if he's going to be as chalky as some people might think, because I think, to your point, Ryan,
Yes.
with the with the Bills and the Chiefs, with those quarterbacks being so high priced and so appealing in those situation spots, I don't think there's going to be a lot of people with a top tier running back in that spot. I don't know, Bruni, what's your thought early in the week here on McCaffrey's ownership?
I mean, you're shooting for the stars, right? Like when you're spending that much on a running back in DFS, you have to bring home 20 plus fantasy points, right? I feel like this is still a week where that can happen because it's Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
And realistically, it can happen any week. However, this week we're transitioning to PJ Walker, where I would assume the play calling is going to be potentially a little bit more vanilla, a little bit more safeguarding to the quarterback, and more run heavy and more friendly to the short passing game, the DJ Moore and the Christian McCaffrey, right? I'm expecting not very much from Robbie Anderson and the rest of the group here. So I think that McCaffrey's worth it, but obviously you're sacrificing, the cost. Like with every DFS approach, you're either, getting that value on spending less, or you're getting the value on the matchup. I think you're getting the value on the matchup in this pick.
I think you're also getting the value on the ownership.
I just don't think he's going to be that popular. I'm not great at predicting ownership, but I would be surprised just because there's a lot of other appealing matchups that I think people will spend up for, and I think McCaffrey's easy to leave out because they'll be like,
what scares me,
the coach.
It's the typical, like, if the offense sucks and they're not in the red zone, it's a little harder to get home. But to your point, you're essentially saying I want access to that 15 target game where they're just checking.
Yeah. Or to Bruni's point, like running the ball. You're not gonna let PJ Walker throw the ball 35 times.
How many people are playing a Stafford Cup Higbee with a C-Mac bring back?
Probably not many at all.
Makes me sick.
I mean, that's probably going to be, all right.
It's kind of interesting too.
Make a note to do that after the show.
What do you got second running back, Ryan?
All right. So I think it probably is silly to completely punt on the Buffalo Kansas City game, because it does seem like there will be points in that game. I'll play a contrarian angle here, because I don't even know if this is what I think in terms of how the game is going to go. But I think taking a bite out of the Buffalo Bills offense in the form of Devin Singletary at 5,900 is delicious. Moss, Cook, none of those guys get any real work. I know Cook got a touchdown. Maybe that even throws people off the scent.
Garbo time.
Yeah, exactly. Coming off only a 6 carry game, 11 the week before that, 9 before that. But that Miami game, if you remember, he had 11 targets. And again, this is a game that projects to be wild, and I want a piece of it in a weird way. I think there's going to be a lot of people with Shakir. I think there's going to be a lot of people because he's cheap. I think there's going to be a lot of people playing Kelsey and chasing those 4 touchdowns. Honestly, like it seems like everyone on Buffalo is going to be popular. And so I'll make the bet that Singletary is the least popular guy on the team. Play him at 5,900 here. Yeah,
certainly low ownership for sure. And he could obviously easily get.
He's the guy. He's on the field. The snap counts are there. So it's for only 5,900. It almost discounted in a game that could have 60 points.
Yeah,
agreed. I have him in my flex. So
there you go, Bruni. Who's your second running back?
I'm going with Ramondre Stevenson. I don't necessarily love the matchup up against Cleveland, but Austin Eckler certainly did well against them. Not sure if Ramondre is going to be able to do the same thing, but this is one of those situations where, you know, you're fading the matchup a little bit and you're going with the value in the player, and that Dame Harris is already ruled out, and Stevenson is still at $6,000 on DK. Like, I feel like that cost should be up with the news out this early that Dame Harris will not be playing. So I love grabbing that number before there's any type of adjustment. Ramondre looking good, could be a nice little bounce back, or not bounce back week, but coming out week as that full workload running back. I'd like to see him catch a handful more passes. I think he can do this in this matchup where maybe Jacoby Myers is having a little bit of a tougher day, dealing with a rookie quarterback on his side, dealing with Denzel Ward on the other side. It might be a little bit more difficult for the receivers to get going in this one for the Patriots. So I'm definitely firing up some Ramondre Stevenson, and shout out to Bailey Zappi for firing up Hunter Henry back from the dead. You know,
that was beautiful.
I'm not saying go start him in DFS, but it was nice to see him, you know, do something.
What happened to that guy?
One more week of him not getting targets, and I was about to cut him. So I was hopeful that with Geno out of the way, Zappi hitting him. The other thing I would add with Stevenson will be in a bunch of my lineups. I do think he's going to be chalkier, but I don't know if he's going to like. Who do you think will be more owned, Sean? Like Ken Walker or Ramondre Stevenson?
I think Ken Walker, just from
that's good. Like that's why I think Stevenson is safe running back chalk this week.
I think Ken Walker, because I think and you know, Bruni probably obviously knows the fantasy community more, but I think these guys
they were pretty high on Ken
Walker.
They
were pretty high on Ken Walker. So now all those guys who drafted Ken Walker in their season long are like, oh yeah, now I get to play him in DFS too.
Brain.
Like
look
that,
at this big brain.
This to me feels like a great Ken Walker spot as far as like the public and their interest. I'm going running back on the Jets. You saw what Saquon was able to do against this Green Bay defense, and in general, like the Green Bay defense, especially their rush defense. I don't know what to make of it. I do know Breece Hall, man, $5,800. He continues to get the increased snaps. 27% week 2, 51%, 66, 69% last week. Nice. 18 carries, 97 yards. He hasn't even got the 100-yard bonus yet. I think he's obviously right around there. He's good for a couple catches in the receiving game as well. I like the matchup against Green Bay's defense. Again, I think, you know, the only reason the Jets are having success on offense, I think, is they're setting up easy stuff for Zach Wilson by getting the running game going. I think they're going to do that again come Sunday. So yeah, give me Breece Hall, $5,800 at the Packers.
Could you imagine what his cost would be if they had given him those 2 extra touches at the goal line? I was losing my mind.
Yeah.
It does seem like, again, like it does seem like they've been artificially holding down running back costs this year. You don't like the only guys that can get into the 7K range are like the bona fide Escalades, which we got to bring the beeping noise back. But other than that, it seems like everyone gets pinned in at that. Like, okay, you're going to be the guy, but we don't really know who you are. 6K, boom.
Yeah, and finding those guys.
I think Aaron Jones is a very good example of that. 7,600. I would not be installing Aaron Jones in any lineups, despite the matchup, just because of the way that they're splitting those running backs. Honestly, the way that I see it, it's like almost disrespectful to Aaron Jones. You pay him all this money. He is what he is as a skill set. Everybody knows it, and then you just leave him on the sidelines. It's a damn shame.
I will say, there's a long history of Aaron Jones and/or Aaron Rodgers complaining about the offense, and the next week having a bit of a show out.
Sure.
Look, I have Aaron Jones, Elijah Moore, fun stacks there. Aaron Jones, Packers defense. Again, Aaron Jones will not be popular this week, unrelated to the current lineup. Because unfortunately, Sean, he's not in this one.
No, Ryan. Hey, before we get to our receivers, tight ends, defense, got to shout out Fubo TV. That's right, Fubo gives you complete coverage of college and pro football. The NFL Red Zone without having to install a satellite dish. Sign me up. Hundreds of live channels of sports and entertainment. Again, Fubo really has it all, and you can watch on all your devices. Super convenient, and the cloud-based DVR, highly recommended. No contract, no commitment. You can cancel at any time. AKA, maybe you don't need Fubo TV anymore. I'm trying to imagine a world where you wouldn't want Fubo TV. Can't even do it. Fubo TV free for 7 days and 15% off your first month. All you got to do is go to FuboTV.com/SGP. That's oddstrader.com/SGP. We're also brought to you by Odds Trader. That's right. Odds Trader is your number one site for all your game day bets. Again, injuries, weather, and finding the best lines, the best numbers, the best signups codes, the best promos. Really, they have it all. It's your one-stop shop. Highly recommend going to oddstrader.com/blue wire. That's ODDS trader.com/blue wire. Kramer, who do you got for your first receiver?
All right, I'll stick with my game stack first, since I just gave out Singletary. Again, I wanted to play this game. I hopefully different. Now I think he will be less different than Singletary, but Juju has been comically inefficient. All right, we're not Robbie Anderson, 11 targets, 1 point or whatever that was, but he's coming off an 8 target game where he only scored 6.3 points. The week before that, 8 targets, scored 9.6, 8 targets, scored 13.9. Hasn't found the end zone at all. He's had 8 targets in 4 out of 5 games this year, Sean. The only game he didn't was that weird Chargers Thursday night game. Again, gonna play it different. If I'm Buffalo, how do I want to approach this team? I want to do whatever I can to take Kelsey out of the game. I don't want them to hit me with those deep shots to MVS. So it was kind of a juggling act. Do I go really contrarian, go Sky Moore again, which just not the volume's not there yet, or do I go Juju, a guy they brought in to be a fucking dog? So 5,200, stacking him with Singletary, who's 5,900, felt like a cheap way to get into that Kansas City game.
It does feel like there's still a Juju game lurking, and maybe it is, and maybe it does end up coming against the Bills.
It'll be juicy. See what I did there, Sean?
I like it.
Yeah.
What about you, Bruni? First receiver, what do you got?
I've mentioned a couple of them, so we'll go with one that I haven't mentioned, and that's Chris Godwin. Really love what I'm seeing from him coming back from injury. I thought that there was going to be a little bit more concern from him. Even just like the first week back, like every time he'd get up off the ground, it looked like it was a real job. Like, man, like this guy looks like he should be taking another breather here, for another week off. But he's looking good. The targets are there. The matchup is great. Going against Pittsburgh, I don't expect Pittsburgh to do much here. You're still working with Kenny Pickett. That's going to be, going up against a tall order in the Tampa Bay defense. I'm also riding out with their defense as well. We'll peep that here at the end of the show. So yeah, feeling really good about Godwin. 6,100, I feel like is a bargain. Evans isn't just really like that target hog when Godwin is in the lineup. I know that Brady does spread it around a little bit, but we had a big Fournette week last week. I think we're going to come back to normalcy and hit a big Godwin week in week 6.
Yes, I also have Godwin in my lineup, 6,100.
Ring the bell.
He's a part of it.
I got him too.
All right, let's go.
Shit,
clean slate, Chris Godwin.
Think I need to change. I'm not.
Well, I have a couple squares like me and Bruni have Godwin.
Well, knowing that I did kind of influence your decision on Godwin. I have a fun stat. But
yeah, what do you got?
Well, go ahead. Finish what you were saying about him.
No, I think the matchup's great. I mean, we saw what this Pittsburgh pass defense looks like with no TJ Watt, no ability to get pressure. I mean, certainly Brady is no Josh Allen, but you would imagine they're going to be throwing the ball a bunch.
Yeah, 32nd in fantasy points to the wide receiver position, I believe.
Yeah, horrible start.
Okay, what are you gonna do?
That's they've given up more points than any other team. I might even be to the quarterback position as well. I also had Godwin in my lineup. It does make sense that Evans might be more contrarian because of the price tag. I didn't have the money in this one, but I did again. I wanted to have this game stacked as well. Kind of feels like there'll be some points thanks to the Bucks and their love of passing the ball.
So what's your next one, Ryan?
That's Godwin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Your next one is Godwin. Got it. All right, Bruni, what do you got?
I'll throw out some more Devin Duvernay love. I mentioned him with Lamar Jackson a little bit, going with that stack. Feel comfortable that Duvernay really is just going to be game planned into the offense. Like we saw him getting so many design touches in that game up against Cincinnati when Bateman was out. And we've seen him have a lot of success even when Bateman's in the game. He's kind of a similar fit to like the Josh Reynolds criteria, what I'm looking for like stashes on my bench for the long term for the rest of the year. But this week, I still love the matchup up against the Giants. I feel like he'll get included onto the ground where we haven't seen J.K. Dobbins really, flashing as much as we'd like to. And then obviously he'll be a target in special teams and as a receiver. So I think he just brings a lot to the table. 4,700, even more so.
He's like Ian Rappaport over here. He's trying to slander J.K. Dobbins. How dare you? Working his way back from injury. Sure.
Yeah, I have so many shares of, or a decent number of Devin Duvernay, not by any sort of like genius planning by me, but just
happened.
Lamar stacks I got. And then, later on in the rounds, it's like, oh yeah, Duvernay. Yeah, maybe that guy will turn out to be something. And
another receiver has to catch the ball, right?
Yeah, no, that was my logic. I kind of just stumbled into owning way more of him than I thought I would.
The running backs do tend to struggle to throw it to the outside receivers, That's me making a Lamar joke and a Jalen Hurts joke all at the same time.
Well, that's why you just give Duvernay a nice little handoff on the reverse.
Yeah.
No, I do like Duvernay.
He's always they always use him and also with Bateman, like they seem to, even when Bateman was healthy, they seemed to like kind of baby him into the season. Like they weren't, he wasn't out there for 100% of snaps. He wasn't running a route on every drop back. Like I don't know what it is. Maybe they think he's a smaller guy.
I think he's also just made just a few errors, like getting this type of workload now, and you're more exposed to top tier defenses, right? You're a priority for the other team's defense, and I feel like especially in that Patriots game, he had a key drop. He had a bad fumble. I think it's more just about getting him like just game ready. I even feel like he may still be another potential sit candidate this week or just out of our lineups because I feel like you had said, kind of baby him, just kind of like ease him back in rather than just being like, hey, man, we really need you out there to win. They don't. They got Lamar. They'll be fine.
And I would keep an eye on the injury news. Adoree Jackson left. More reasons why Dan Jones is fucking great, but they already lost their number 2 cornerback for a long period of time. Adoree Jackson left the game. We kind of spotlighted the Giants secondary as potentially a problem, although Wink has done a good job to scheme it up. It's a huge vulnerability. So someone's going to have a long touchdown, I think. All right.
It's not going to be Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews can do all sorts of work, but it ain't going to be a 15+ yard reception.
My bring back in the Seattle stack. I'll start here. Marquise Hollywood Brown. Now he's coming off like a pretty decent game against the Eagles, but he even left some plays. Like watching him live there, he left some plays on the field. He had that juggle that if he caught that ball cleanly, he could have been still running. He had 8 catches for 78 yards and a touchdown going up against his Seattle defense, which has just been. Again, they made Taysom Hill look like goddamn Joe Montana out there. I just think there's gonna be plenty of opportunities against the Seattle defense, and Hollywood Brown seems like the guy. They also struggle against the tight end. I was going back and forth between Hollywood Brown or Ertz, but I think they're both gonna have a big game. So give me Hollywood Brown at $7,200. He's clearly Kyler's guy, and for whatever reason, the offense does, and the team in general does better on the road. They're at Seattle
again. The Kyler doubles are so easy to set up. It's just Hollywood and Ertz. Like they're receiving, like they're combined. I think receiving 22 targets a game or something like that.
I would also try to throw in an alt line here or lineup. Throwing some Rondale Moore. He had 7 catches on 8 targets in his last game. And I'm sure at a much lower cost, probably closer to 4,000 or so.
Yeah, unfortunately they only throw him the ball like 2 yards downfield though. Could be tough.
Catch is a catch,
but he does. Yeah, full point PPR. Would I be shocked if he gets like 7 or 8? No, and obviously much cheaper.
Makes me wonder what you do in your private time that you have to qualify full point PPR around here, Sean. What kind of show do you think this is?
Who's your last receiver, Ryan?
It's my. I am gonna stack with a receiver, and it's gonna be Darius Slayton.
Oh, really?
Look, all right. I'll take you all the way back. You remember the hot start Daniel Jones got off to his career? You might remember that.
Vaguely, yeah.
Well, Slayton was one of the reasons why. Like Slayton was a random 5th round pick who had some speed, and for whatever reason, he was not able to find the field with this coaching staff. That all the injuries kind of forced him on the field. And if you watch that game, he's very clearly the only player they're playing at wide receiver that has NFL receiving speed. The other guys are just kind of gimmick players, and it works. But Slayton's the guy who's going to beat him deep. And Slayton should have had even more. The one target he missed was kind of a bad throw. The one of Dan Jones's few bad throws that game, where that would have added another 20 yards. So Slayton, I think, again, what's been Baltimore's weakness been, Sean? They're letting some dudes put up some receiving numbers on them to the tune of 53.1 fantasy points a game surrendered to wide receivers by the Baltimore Ravens over the last 3 weeks. That's not good. So I don't know which other receiver is going to. Maybe Richie James catches a couple balls, but Darius Slayton catches the deep one. Dan Jones, good deep ball thrower. He's dirt cheap here, 3,800.
Yeah,
absolute smash spot.
I don't mind the.
This is how you win $1 million, Sean.
No, there you go. You need someone around that 38
sub 1% ownership guys
3%.
like Darius Slayton.
Yeah, he's not going to be a chalky pick for sure. What about you, Bruni? Who's your third receiver here?
We mentioned him already. DJ Moore, just buying the bounce back. DJ Moore and Matt Rule were not having a good time with each other the last several weeks. If you guys ain't caught any of those interviews, and like these reporters were really laying it into him. They're just like, they would just keep going and going and going. Like, no, tell us more about that. No. Tell us more about your little complaint about the coach, please. The guy's just like, listen, man, I just catch the ball. All right. Like, and I feel like that's what's going to be happening this week. Like, I feel like it's kind of like a, the guys in the room type of game for the Panthers, right? Like kind of like players only meeting time, right? Like we're going to figure this out. We just lost our quarterback. We just lost our head coach. Everybody's betting against us. I'm with you. I'll ride out on some CMC, but I'm definitely buying the dip on DJ Moore. Better days are coming, folks. Believe in the process.
Is Baker invited to the players only meeting?
No, that's incorrect. That's incorrect. Just the same as Danger Russ is not invited to the Broncos team meetings. I swear to God, he caught.
Let's ride.
But Justin, he sat in front of his locker for 40 minutes with his pads still on. What a
that's
fucking
pretty
weirdo.
dangerous for us.
What a weirdo.
That Russell Wilson, right? That's what I'm saying. I swear to God, the guy caught CTE from somebody. Like someone just like coughed on him the wrong way.
Well, we shouldn't joke about this. He does sell concussion water.
Yeah. How long did he have that? Yeah, we got to look it up. But he was selling some water. It was like
curing concussions.
It was recovery water that also helped with concussions.
Oh my gosh, is he selling tickets to something too?
Should have been a red flag. We should have been onto him at this point.
Well, come on, the standing in the middle of the field doing the arm thing, like, bro, that's like the corniest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I've never seen anyone do something like that.
A couple of years ago, he went through his full 2-hour warm up in a game that he wasn't going to play in.
But I've seen some guys do weird stuff like that. Like I've seen the Dak dance, I've seen players kind of doing that. Like they go through the motions. Like Tua was doing that a couple of weeks ago. That was weird. Eyes closed, like he's singing a song in his head and praying at center field while there's a whole swarm of cameras and reporters around him.
Yeah. I mean,
all right. So I was able to track down the concussion water article. This is from 2015. Wilson is an investor in Reliant Recovery Water, a $3 per bottle concoction with nano bubbles and electrolytes that purportedly helps people recover quickly from workouts and, according to Wilson, injury. He mentions a teammate whose knee healed miraculously, and then he shares his own testimonial. I banged my head during the Packers game in the playoffs, and the next day I was fine, says Wilson. It was the water.
What year was this?
This is 2015. Agent Mark Rogers offers a hasty interjection. Well, we're not saying we have real medical proof, but Wilson shakes his head, energized by the subject. He speaks with an evangelist zeal. I know it works. His eyes brighten. Soon you'll be able to order it straight from Amazon.
We need to replace the Subway sub with the concussion water. Who knew this guy was just an absolute marketer?
Okay, I'm Ryan. We got to order some of this.
let's get focused. Let's get focused.
Reliant Recovery Water.
I feel like if we should bring this up. Break the news.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Where was I? Okay, so for my stack with Geno Smith, I know Lockett had a big game, but also DK Metcalf has been hanging around. And again, he's DK Metcalf. The guy's a stud. $6,800 at home. He's taken 96% of the snaps last game, 5 catches, 88 yards, and a touchdown. It does seem like he does have some connection with Tyler Lockett. This is a little, game before though. He had 7 for 149 without a touchdown. I feel like this could be the DK game. And
Lockett was very heavily owned in the last last week. So
yeah,
his price is so cheap that it's probably wise to not be on him and just to hope it's DK to get paid off.
And Lockett is like noticeably less than DK. He's 5,600, DK 6,800. I feel like this is the week to play DK.
DK on DK.
And just eye test, like the Cardinals receivers really struggle with big physical guys. I'm surprised at the Eagles. Like they had AJ Brown had 3 catches on that first drive in the game, and then they got away from him. I don't know. They thought they could get some bubble screen stuff going with Devonta Smith, whatever. I think DK has a very good matchup this week at home against Arizona.
So you're not playing an onslaught lineup with Geno, Ken Walker, DK, Tyler Lockett.
Geno won a guy $1 million, right? Who's to say he's not going to win someone else another $1 million?
All right. So part of the reason that I really enjoy putting Dan Jones in the lineups this week is because the bring back Duvernay was option 2, but option 1 is Mark Andrews, because my data tells me, Sean, you got to pay up for the tight end this year. So wanted to fade Kelsey, check. I think we're fading Kelsey by playing Andrews. I don't think Andrews will be insanely popular because I don't think Lamar will be insanely popular. So you have that kind of inverted correlation. And to the point of what we were discussing earlier, I think Zach Ertz and Higbee are going to fit into so many people's lineups at 49 and 4,600 with the amount of targets they're getting. That give me access to Mark Andrews against the Giants, who they aren't good against the tight end as a franchise. And this team, the weakness of this team, Sean. I told you there are concerns on the back end. We had those concerns. The cornerbacks strangely have been I don't know if it's a technique thing. They've been doing all right. The linebackers can't cover anyone in space. We've seen it with running backs. We've seen it with some tight ends. I think Andrews could have a massive game. Hopefully it's not like a 2 or 3 touchdown game, but that's the kind of game that's on the table here. So, although it is a wink revenge game, give me Mark Andrews, 7,000. Yeah, as my bring back for Dan Jones. They're down 3 touchdowns, they're gonna have to be passing to Mark Andrews.
A lot of dump off stuff to Andrews in garbage time. I like that. I like it.
I know you didn't like it, but that was thank you for saying you like it.
I mean, Mark Andrews against. I was just thinking more in my own head, like the Seattle's really bad against the tight ends. Like there's a couple teams that just can never figure out the tight ends.
Just listen to this: Lamar Andrews single with a Slayton bring back.
With your sacking.
No, I'm telling you, you make that lineup.
Okay.
Lamar, Andrews, Slayton. You build the rest yourself.
Mark Andrews as well, or no?
That's what I'm saying. Lamar, Mark Andrews, Darius Slayton. That's what you start with. You do the rest.
All right. I love it. Ryan's giving the audience
too deep
homework.
into the DFS this year. The fact that I already have 5 lineups is not healthy. And by the week, and it doesn't help that it doesn't help that my fucking balance is so flush because I took down the big boy this week.
It does when you win the big boy, Ryan. As someone who also won the big boy this year, it does get you drunk with power. Like, I'm seeing the Matrix right now.
Just hit a 10x. Let's fucking go.
What about you, Bruni? Who's your tight end this week?
Tight end. What an aggravating position to start the season. Not like it isn't any other year, right? Like you mentioned, you just really got to hog tie yourself to the big dogs, Kelsey and Andrews. But I'm going with someone that I feel has been safe. I mean, it's a weird term to use when referencing tight ends that aren't those 2 big dogs that I just referenced. But I'm going with David Njoku. I don't love the matchup up against New England, but he's got about 29 targets, 24 catches so far in the season. He's tight end 8. He is tight end 7 coming in on the week because Hawkinson's out this week on a bye. So 7th best tight end, getting him at $4,000 in a matchup up against New England, where I feel, Brissett and Amari Cooper are going to be taken out of the game. Like great example this week of just Bill Belichick attacking the best target on the field. Amon-Ra St. Brown completely took him out of the game plan. Something Bill Belichick's been known for, for many, many years, right? Fade Amari Cooper this week. A lot of David Njoku, a lot of Nick Chubb. That's going to be the offense for the Browns this week at $4,000. Averaging 11.5 points. How can I say no?
Well, and Amari might take himself out of the game plan. I don't know if you saw that, but he checked himself out of the game on that last field goal drive, or that drive setting up the field goal.
Wow.
He was like, I'm tired. You can't be tired. This is the NFL, kid. I knew I didn't like Amari Cooper for a reason, besides the fact that he's a known Cowboys
unrelated. This obviously is not how Amari Cooper grew up, but I was at the park with this little youth soccer last night, and I saw a dad and his son, kids wearing a helmet, full pads, just going through drills.
Let's go.
He couldn't have been older than 8
the
years
war
old.
on football is not over yet, Ryan.
If it was not dark out, it was dark out too. I wanted to take a picture to send to Colby and say football's not dead.
Football is life.
And it might be a little weird. Like, hey, can I take a photo of your son?
No, I wanted to take a picture of the workout. Like the dad.
Does your son have a Todd Marinovich poster on his wall?
They were in the 3-point stance. I mean, this was dedication.
It's legit football guys out there, right?
I like that Njoku pick.
Yeah, we just traded for Njoku. Obviously, if you missed the recap show, I did try to tell Ryan we should start Taysom Hill last week, but I'm over it. I'm moving on, Ryan. That's all in the
How are you supposed to know when it's the time to do that? Well, like what's your criteria? Like I was telling people today in my waiver wire article, like, listen, you can spend 5% on Taysom Hill, but like in good faith, like I can't tell you like, oh yeah, spend 25, spend 15%. Like you don't know when these weeks are going to happen and when they're not.
My logic was, it's a decent matchup for him, but it was more just like the ultimate insult to Kyle Pitts, who he made the mistake of drafting. Taysom coming in there would have been the greatest redemption story.
I have my 100% in high stakes this year. 100% of my tight ends are Ertz, Kelsey, and Pitts. The teams with not Pitts are doing great. The teams with Pitts are not doing great. I will say the one area where Sean does suggest this very often, so it's perfect for the show because he can bag on me when he's theoretically right. I will say though, in this league, Taysom Hill does qualify at tight end.
Yeah.
Which is not true in some other places.
No, in DK and DFS, you have to start him at quarterback, which makes it way tougher.
He would have been a good player.
He would have been great last week though, because 3 rushing touchdowns and 1 passing. You're good. And for $5,000, it's easy money. All right, my tight end. Obviously, I'm going to do the double stack with Mr. Will Dissly. Only $3,100. Again, I mean,
that's close to the number 3,900 that he paid us at with the first touchdown. Let's go. You could make a case of just playing Will Dissly anyway if you just needed a tight end. I mean, Bruni is making some solid points about how thin tight end is. If you want to take a punt at tight end at $3,100, like that's crazy to me. He's gotten a touchdown. They've had 2 home games. He's gotten a touchdown in each. He's not like a huge catch numbers wise, but his average per catch is good. He's used near the goal line. Dallas Goedert had a pretty good game against the Cards. Like Will Dissly at $3,100. That to me is that's the guy that's going to win you the millie. Please only punt.
He's tight end 10. He's tight end 10 on the season. Like I mean, albeit Hayden Hurst is 1 spot ahead of him. You know what I mean? Like it's a weird group. It's a weird group, but the value that you're getting for the production that you've already seen, as far as like passing the eye test, he checks a lot of boxes.
It's one of those games, right? You're obviously you're only punting on tight end when you're correlating, right, Sean? Yeah. Because you're a good player. Mm-hmm. And so what does Dissly do? He scores touchdowns. 3 out of 5 games he scored a touchdown. That's all.
He's due. Didn't have one last week.
Can I throw out unrelated because this would come up if we were doing a Tom Brady lineup. Cade Otton did come home last week. He's still only 2,800. And if you really want to talk punt tight ends, if Knox is out again, the kid that's backing up Knox in Buffalo, Morris. Yeah. He's another kind of suit. That's probably a good contrarian way to get in there with the Josh Allen team.
Did he get a touchdown this last week or did they call it back?
Let me pull it. He definitely was involved. He had 5 targets, 3 catches, no touchdowns. They must have called it back.
So he did. I believe there was a play where he hit pay dirt. It was just overturned. So just fruit for thought.
Yeah, I think it was either a PI or something happened. I remember now, but they isolated him on the weak side of the formation. They put everyone else on the other side, and it's like, okay, we're just gonna roll out our backup tight end and throw a designed play to him. The Bills are really savages.
Yeah, absolutely. There were. I know if Adam was on the show, he knows the roster top to bottom. But that fullback that they had, apparently Gilliam. Like him and Allen are like really tight, right? Like it seems like they're really trying to give some of these underserved guys on the roster their time to shine. Look at Shakir. He went 3 for 5, 75 plus yards in a tutty this week. Crazy.
It's early. You know what it is? They still have some of Daboll's tricks, but they're running out. They're running out of tricks. Soon it will be all gone. All right. Where are we at? The flex?
Flex run.
All right. So I gave you Godwin earlier. The stack with Godwin is, who knew we'd be dealing with the world where a Pickens is thrown to a Pickett. Wait, a Pickett is throwing to a Pickens. George Pickens, 4,600.
Love him. He's also my flex.
Feels a little bit like this stack, as we're all agreeing, is going to be a trendy one. Maybe it's just I'm in my own box again, and I only have a few people around me to say words. But George Pickens, again, I was able to stack my Buffalo Kansas City game for 11,100. I stacked Godwin with Pickens for 10,700. Feeling pretty good about that. Yeah. So Pickens is obviously the guy.
He's the only guy that, and now,
I wouldn't say the only guy, but he's definitely like when he's going out of plan or off script, it's to Pickens every time. And it even seemed like the first game he was going to Freiermuth a bit, but Freiermuth got his head knocked around.
He's
so
concussion.
He won't be playing.
I mean, Deontay Johnson did have 13 targets, but he's 5,700.
Yeah.
He's 5,700. George Pickens you're getting for $1,100 cheaper. And no Freiermuth this week. To me, it seems like a super obvious play.
Quick. Is Deontay Johnson the contrarian play though?
I don't think DJ's the contrarian play. I think he is the favorite play. I don't know the numbers of the public, but I would assume that people would still buy him more because of what we saw in that last game. Even in the blowout, you had the 13 targets, which is a huge improvement from the workload that he was getting, right? Like he just wasn't getting targeted. So when your backup QB comes in and does that, like, at least you did that right. Like you looked to your best receiver 13 times. You at least tried, right? So that's a really good move in the right direction. Between the two, I think that Pickens is still the better play because I think that he finds the end zone this week. And I don't think that DJ does. And I think at the end of the week, that's what's going to be the big differential between the two is that Pickens is going to have a little bit less of coverage going into the end zone than Deontay will. There's just going to be a little bit less focus on him.
Yeah, it does seem like, I mean, it's weird, but Deontay even dropped a couple with Pickens. It's like it's
not very efficient. He was 5 catches on 13 targets, whereas
normally I love
Pickens is 6 for 8. I think some of it is just Pickens is a better player. Like, and I think they legitimately had some chemistry from the preseason games.
I think that's the end.
And training camp, right? Like
right.
Pickens was running with the 2s early, and he was with Pickett, so I think they have a better connection.
And the Bucks have not, like the Bucks have been vulnerable down the field, so that's the other part. I think they'll be able to scheme up a decent way to, like Todd Bowles will. A little bit worried that Todd Bowles will have a good plan for a rookie quarterback and pressure him a bunch, which leads to more check downs to the running backs, check downs to Deontay Johnson. But Tampa is strangely like bottom 5 in the league and giving up stuff down the middle of the field and deep. And so, that's what you're playing for, I guess. So 4,600 Pickens. You also have Pickens?
Yep. Okay. Cosign Pickens. What about you, Bruni? What about in your flex spot?
We already talked about him, Devin Singletary, him for all the same reasons that Ryan had mentioned. I think that, he has had that, kind of a down week the past few weeks. I feel like they're going to get him back into the game plan and just getting the ball on the ground, getting those just shorter gains consistently with your running back. You're just going to eat up clock, protect the ball, rest your defense in a very tight matchup, pivotal matchup for the conference. I think that'll be a big part of the Bills' game plan.
And surely they would go back and do a little self scouting and say maybe we shouldn't get into a shootout with this team this year. See, Adam's going to reach out to me now. He's like, your opinion on the Bills doesn't matter. Your opinion is stupid because you pick against them every week.
He does have I think you've picked against him every week, Ryan.
Okay. This was the Gabe Davis game in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
8 catches, 4 touchdowns. It's not going to be Gabe Davis this time. I like this. The Singletary play just seems like it's such a delicious way to be in this game, but be fading what most people are playing in this game. Because again,
most importantly, not paying up to be in that game.
Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, they will not win you $1 million this week.
Breaking news.
All right, defense.
Close it out. What do you got for your defense?
I have enough to buy any defense. So I figured.
Really?
Like, is it as simple as just playing Aaron Donald versus PJ Walker? Is it as simple as
Bruni's a PJ Walker truther? He's shaking his head.
No, I'm just not with the Rams defense this year. That's all. They just do not look like the Super Bowl defense that we saw. It's just not there.
So like you can spend any amount of money on any defense. Who you playing, Sean? Because my first thought was like you can spend like you buy the top of the board. You're not going to get any sort of. You're not going to have a popular defense.
I mean, San Francisco is my go-to defense. If price isn't an option, like the yards per player there. I guess just keep an eye on Bosa's status. But Ryan, you had a great nugget, and you said, "I don't know if I want to share this on air because it blasphemies our Lord and Savior Marcus Mariota." But what did you say? 23% of his throws are off target.
Over 23% of his throws are turnover worthy throws.
Yeah, for against that 49ers
throws,
defense.
Yeah. My concern with the Niners is they are very banged up. The other Bosa may be banged up, so I'll stick with the Rams.
The problem for me is I like some of the.
I'm going to take the Rams.
I like some of the cheap defenses.
Yeah, give me the Rams. Aaron Donald. I mean, do you remember how bad PJ Walker was last time he played in real NFL action?
Again, it wasn't pretty as
Will
a PJ
the
Walker
Rams
chooser.
be a home team this week?
Yeah,
no
I would
one's
imagine.
traveling to see the Panthers.
No,
see what we're doing. We're building a narrative. They're not going to be able to hear. Give me the Rams, top of the board, 4,100. Who you got for defense, Bruni?
I took the Buccaneers, going back to the well with the Pittsburgh Steelers stream. You know, Kenny Pickett, rookie quarterback. Didn't like what I saw last week up against the Bills. I think the Buccaneers defense is very, very good up front. Going to bring a lot of pressure. Have not been impressed with Najee Harris whatsoever. Another big L for me this year so far.
Yeah, no,
Hopefully
we were pro Najee as well. That one was not looking good so far.
It's not over. But yeah, the Buccaneers in a very, very good spot this week, even on the road. Give me the Buccaneers here. I think we could even see Mason in this game. We could see old Rudolph taking the field at some point. I mean, Tomlin's in it to win. He doesn't need a losing season. You know, why bother? I got another guy.
It's true.
I do like some of the cheap defenses. I mean, the Giants, Ryan, wink revenge game against the Ravens at home, $2,600. I also like the Dolphins, $2,700 at home against the Minnesota Vikings. Like this, I mean, couldn't you see Kirk Cousins on the road in Miami? Like this is Kirk Cousins' meltdown game written all over it.
He brought his plexiglass box to.
Oh, you don't need it down in Florida, Ryan. He's welcomed with open arms.
No, he doesn't want to tempt himself.
Oh, okay.
He's also a man of faith,
dude.
There's a lot of Florida people trying to give him COVID this week for sure.
There's a video of him wearing I forget what player's chain, but it is. I keep laughing at it. Because he looks like such a dad rocking this spinning necklace chain. Like one of the other players put it on the flight back from England. Kirk Cousins rocks the spinning diamond chain, and he's looking at it, and the expression he makes on his face is so good.
It's like
I watched it on the loop for like a decent amount.
Literally like a toddler finding his penis.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like.
Just finding joy for the first time. For me, and again, it is the cheapest defense on the board. I only have $2,400. I guess I'm stuck with the Carolina Panthers defense. But I don't mind it at all. I think they got a couple players on that team. I think there's a chance they have a chip on their shoulder, and you know they already have a defensive touchdown this season. Newsflash: Matt Stafford not good. He's just a turnover machine, and that Rams offensive line can't block for shit.
Sean, they also fired. Not only did they fire Matt Rule, they fired the defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
So
again, like you know. You would expect maybe a bounce back game at some point for the Rams, but I mean, Stafford is he's creating touchdowns for the other team. It's crazy. 7 interceptions so far this season. He's also got some fumbles. Like he's just looked really bad. And, you know, and again, in DraftKings, like the DFS, like the points allowed isn't really a huge deal. It's more like, can you create sacks? Can you get a defensive touchdown?
I mean, you're really, it's the touchdown, your game you're playing. Like which defense is scoring a touchdown? And
you don't want to go against Matt Stafford one more time.
What's his interception streak up to right now? Has he thrown a pick in every game this year?
No, I think he missed one game.
Jesus. I mean, it's just the prop. I mean, I haven't looked yet at the prop, but if they put that prop out at -125 again, shame on the books. What are they doing?
It really is.
Nice work, Sean.
Thank you. Yes. We gave it out at 14-1, 15-1. Stafford to lead the league in interceptions. That's looking pretty juicy now.
Pretty good.
All right. Hey, Bruni, thanks for coming on, man. That was a lot of fun. Make sure you follow Bruni on Twitter at SGPNJB for Justin Bruni. Obviously, fantasy football podcast. Does a ton of articles, editing over on sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Anything else you got going out there you want people to check out, Bruni?
Yep. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com, smash the fantasy tab. We got all the good stuff for you. IDP, Dynasty, waiver wire, FOB budgeting, snap share accounts. We've got it all for you guys. We're also giving away a free DeAndre Swift jersey right now. All you have to do is go to our YouTube page, go to the YouTubes, go search SGPN Fantasy. You'll bring up our page really quick. Just follow us on YouTube, comment and like a video, and you're in. It's just that simple. We're going to be giving it away this Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern for kickoff of Week 6. Very excited. And we're also giving away a $50 merch store gift card to SGPN as well in that giveaway. So be sure to go follow us all on Twitter, Sean and Kramer as well. Been a lot of fun.
Oh, see, that's what I'm talking about. He perfect transition to talk about how you should follow me at Kramer Centric.
Bruni,
some
team
have called
player.
me the king.
True.
Some have called me the king.
King Kramer. Follow King Kramer on Twitter at Kramer Centric. You can follow Surf Sean at Sean T Green. Just some peasants over here. Hashtag peasant life. Hey, toss us a nice rating and review. We are giving away $100 gift card every Monday, aka Merch Monday. I forgot to do it yesterday because I was at Decker's wedding, but I will announce.
Shout out to Decker.
Shout out to Justin Decker. There was actually
Monday weddings.
Yes, Monday weddings. It was.
No, we're in California. It's not real world out here, Bruni.
Oh, my bad.
It was a lot of fun, and a lot of people came up to us and were like, "Yeah, you host the show that Decker is a guest on." I go, "Yeah." They called him Justin, but
he's a big celebrity. Huh?
Yeah. Shout out to all the Chargers fans and Padres fans.
It's been a tough year for Chargers fans. Huh?
Yes,
a lot of
optimism. They got Herbert. They're pretty excited. Again, toss this rating review. Screenshot it wherever you can review the show. Screenshot it. Submit it in the SGPN app for your chance to win every Monday. For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean stacking the money green, and he is Ryan.
Just gonna remind people again because it's happened more than once. It's not a screenshot of. It's not you taking a selfie of leaving the review. It's a screenshot of the actual review.
Kramer.
I don't know. I think I want the latter.
Let it ride. Good stuff, Bruni. A lot of fun, man.